We're talking about a case involving the death of rapper Julio Foolio, whose name, candidly, I've never heard until I was told we're doing this segment. And when I joked that he sang our wedding song, somebody believed me earlier. Rapper Julio Foolio was killed by someone, and prosecutors in Tampa believe it was Alicia Andrews and about four other people. They're going to trial later on. She's been separated and she's going to trial now. She's facing a potential life sentence here in Florida. And she allegedly stalked this guy and Julio Fulio's real name, by the way, is Charles Jones. And Alicia's boyfriend, Isaiah Chance, allegedly is a gang member, and they together served as lookouts. And the state is saying they followed him, and the other ones came to kill him. Ashley, you've enjoyed following this case. What's your thoughts?
I have definitely enjoyed following this case. And
Yeah,
I think one of my favorite things is just saying his name, Julio Foolio.
sure.
It is kind of fun to say, but it's unfortunate because he was shot down, he was gunned down.
Mhm.
But, I think this is one of those cases where they have chosen to prosecute Andrews first. And she's the low-hanging fruit. She's the easier target for them. But she's not the one that they're seeking the death penalty for. So I kind of think this is a practice trial almost for them because they've got the other four people, the other four gentlemen who are all the ones that they're saying actually did this crime. They actually committed the shooting. And they're saying that Andrews was really, they're trying to say that she was deeply enmeshed, but that's not what the evidence has shown so far. It's shown that she was there. She might have had some inkling as to what was happening, but whether or not she actually conspired, whether or not she actually made an agreement, conspired to do this, enough to be proven that she was an accomplice, I think that's kind of far-fetched. But what's really caught a lot of folks' eyes is the heat in the trial, the very difference between the prosecution, the judge, and the defense. There's been a lot of really heated exchanges
Mm.
between them. And, just the defense is just having a hard time holding their own in that courtroom.
Yeah, I'm going to play a few clips in just a moment. Matt, put on your prosecutor's hat. It's not hard for you to do. Let's say they get the conviction against her, right? What are the chances that you, as the prosecutor, then say, all right, listen, you were the lookout. You played the least significant role. We really want these other guys, and we want to put them to death. Are you flipping this gal against them, or you don't do it?
Well, and of course you went right to what we're all thinking, Mark, on that. I am certain that behind the scenes they've made great efforts with this young woman to get her to flip already.
Mm.
In fact, I would guarantee it. And you see this, especially in gang cases and theories of attenuated liability. You often go exactly like Ashley said. You go for the lowest hanging fruit. You go for the weakest link in the chain, and you try to flip them or get them to testify and cooperate against everybody else. And I cannot tell you guys, I know you've seen the same, where you have a young woman who's in this situation who chooses young love over her best advice from her counsel and her own legal self-interest. And it never, ever works out well for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think if they convict her, it may be too late for the defense, but I'm sure that behind the scenes there were efforts to do that already.
She'll get life. So the defense is putting on their knee pads, and they're going to beg to the prosecutors, to do something. They're gonna go Hail Mary on this appeal and think it's going to come back on appeal. They'll be looking to cooperate. I want to play some of these clips. Let's go to clip number one. This was actually played at trial. It shows the Foolio shooting. Let's take a look at that first. Okay, so we see that. Let's go to another clip. Let's jump to the best friend. This is a piece of evidence. A best friend of Alicia Andrews is saying certain things. I don't want to give it away. Let's play clip number two.
You said you have known her for over a decade. How would you describe the nature of your relationship?
She's one of my bestest friends.
Did Alicia Andrews ever mention to you that Isaiah Chance was in a gang?
She mentioned that there were rumors that he was in a gang.
And she specifically told you that she was aware that he was in a gang. Is that correct?
She was aware that he was tied in or affiliated within a gang, yes.
Okay, so she hangs out with a gang member. That's not game, set, and match, Matt, right? That's just one little factor, right? You would agree.
Right. Yeah,
Okay,
and
but there's more, right?
there's more.
There's more,
Right.
but it does hurt, Ashley. You don't want to have a client who's known to knowingly hang out with a gang member, because gang members do violence. You are accused of a significant act of violence, right?
100%. And that is why
Okay.
the state put this evidence in. They want to paint her as a bad person with making bad choices. That's the whole point of this. But is it really relevant that she knew her boyfriend hung out with gangsters or was a gangster?
Matt would tell you yes. Matt would say, I like that fact.
And I think we'd
It's a
have a
piece of the
great
puzzle.
argument. I mean, and he would argue that, and I would argue it's not relevant. I would argue that it
Okay.
doesn't prove or doesn't tend to prove or disprove a fact in controversy. She's not charged with being a gang member. They are, but she's not. And she's being tried separately. So I would have fought my butt off to try and keep any reference of gang out of her trial, since she is not charged with gang charges.
Okay. Here, I want to have a little fun. Matt, I keep playing you as the prosecutor. I want you to be the defense attorney for a second. You know what they're arguing. Pretend like you're the defense lawyer. What are the defense saying? I mean, there's a lot of evidence against her. What's the best argument here?
Oh, the best argument here is either she was totally in the dark and didn't
Right.
know what they were going to do, which may find some traction.
Mhm.
There's some problems because of she wrote a text message to one of her friends, might have been the woman being examined that in the clip we just saw, where she said he need to die.
Yeah, we should play
so
that
she-
clip. Let's pause for a second. Let's play that clip and I'll let you continue. That's clip number 3.
And then the defendant then texts back to you, and this is January 21st of 2021, 8:39 a.m. Girl, I don't like Foolio. LMFAOOO, ugly ass bitch. He need to die.
Ooh. I'll let Matt go, but Matt, get ready, Ashley. You got to defend
ready.
that.
I'm ready.
That's not great. Matt, what would you argue?
Yeah, look, the number one, she can hate him, but she has to do something to effectuate the actual killing itself. And the accusation is that she's essentially working as a lookout.
Right.
And there's two ways you can skin that cat prosecution-wise. One, you can say she's a full-blown co-conspirator, which is a little more complicated. The way I always prefer to do these as a prosecutor was it's just aiding and abetting, because it's a much lower bar. Did they do anything to promote, facilitate, or encourage it in any way? And that's where I think the probably the most persuasive part of the prosecution here is that she knowingly aided in some way. Defense-wise, I think what they're going to do is they'll say, hey, she didn't know. And if she did, she is not a gang member, but she suddenly found herself in this gang world, even though I think she's with the guy for a couple of years. And she's intimidated by these guys, and she goes along with it. And all three of us, we've seen that run in probably many, many times in murder cases just like this, where the girlfriend of some dude who's up to really involved in the murder knows more than she's willing to give up and did something to help. And those are kind of the two go-tos. She didn't know, and if she did, she was intimidated.
Right.
And sometimes those work, especially when you've got really, really bad guys that are coming up next. Trying her separately is a good strategic move by the prosecution, because if the shooter or one of the guys they really got dead to rights is sitting next to her, I think juries are a lot more likely to cut her slack and say, they get justice out of getting the trigger man or the main mover in the conspiracy. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, if I'm trying this case, I like that the bad guys are nowhere near her, so I can crap all over them. It's
All
always
over them.
comfortable when I'm trying a case with co-defendants, and I want to say they might have known, but not my sweet innocent dolphin that got caught up in the tuna net. Ashley, I always tell my law students that it is critical. The most important part of the trial that nobody talks about, because it's not on any TV, cheesy drama or movies, is jury selection.
Oh, yeah.
I need to know whether I've got jurors who will refuse to punish my client for merely being present. Because that's the argument, as Matt talked about, the Schultze defense. I know nothing. I see nothing, from Hogan's Hero. It's a long time ago. But she didn't know, and she was merely present with this bad guy, right?
I would have that
jury selection.
I would have that blown up, that jury charge on merely present. I would have it blown up as big as the court would let me, and as much as I could get through the door to show mere presence, because that's the defense. But that statement that he needs to die, That was in 2021. So if I was defending her, I would distance her from that statement as much as humanly possible. And I would turn it around on the prosecution, say that's all they got. They got something 3.5 years old that says he needs to die. Don't you think if she had said that he should die in 2024, 2023, they would bring it? They're bringing you some old ass text from 2021 where she's joking about not liking him because that's all they got. They have no other text. They have no texts about her talking about this murder recently. Hey, let's go to Tampa to off this guy, anything like that. And you bet if they had that, the jury would be hearing that. And they're not.
Yeah.
Great I gotta tell you, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. That's why I'd be afraid to try it against Ashley.
I was just going to say, I love it.
That makes me nervous. That would make me afraid right there.
Good.
But also, I'll tell you what, if it was Ashley on this, Ashley, and I don't want to speak for you, but Ashley would have flipped this chick. Immediately, she would have been on the witness bus. Ashley would have had the client control to get her to do the right thing. I bet.
She would try, but she would fight back. She'd say, I'm no rat.
I would, and I'm glad
snitch.
you brought that up, though, because I was thinking about this when you were talking about it earlier, Matt. So they offered her, I think it was something like 18 years. And I was thinking about how hard it would be to try and convince, what is she, 22 now? Yeah. Can you imagine? To a prosecutor, that seems like a deal because she's facing life. But from defending human beings, when you're 22, 18 years, that's a hard thing to sell.
And here in Florida, we do not have parole.
Right.
She'd be doing 85% of her time. It's not going to be easy for her. So I don't know, as great as Ashley is, I don't know that she would have been able to flip this gal. Now, listen, I want to shift to something else. In this trial, there were some fireworks in court. We were talking about it before we started on air. And Ashley, we loved that this judge is fiery and the defense has issues. Let's play clip number 4 and we'll talk about the significance.
You invoke the rule of sequestration. That means all witnesses. It's incumbent upon the lawyers, as the professionals that they are, to tell all of their witnesses as well. You're not to be discussing the case. You're not to be watching it on court TV. And apparently that didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. Inexcusable.
Well, Your Honor,
inexcusable.
If I may respond, we are professionals, just like every other attorney in this courtroom. The bigger point that I was making is that the way that Mr. Harmon has been speaking to this side of the table is unprofessional. It's disrespectful. He's done it in front of the jury as well, and there has not been any attempt by the court to intervene in that. So I want to make sure that it's on the record that it's inappropriate. The rising tone is unnecessary, and it's disrespectful, and it's inappropriate.
Ms. White, everything that's happened in this trial is on the record. Everything's been videotaped. The conduct of everybody involved. Okay? And the failure of the defense to tell their own witnesses not to talk about the case is inexcusable. And that's a matter of record.
Oh, I cringe because I've been there. I've been there with tough judges, right?
Yes.
I had one every time I asked for a sidebar, she rolled her eyes. Okay. And then I said, listen, judge, with utmost respect, when I asked for a sidebar, I appreciate it if you wouldn't show the jurors your disdain. She lost it. She cried. She was horrible. Anyway, just very briefly before we move on, because I want to get to some great topics in segment 2. What do you make of that, Ashley?
I mean, to me, they should have just admitted it. That's a mess up. You have to tell your witnesses about the rule of sequestration. If you mess that up, we've all messed that up. It is an honest mistake. If they did make an honest mistake, just admit it. Just admit it. I'm sorry. Instead, they're just this smoke and mirrors like, oh, well, they're being disrespectful. You messed up.
And I'm curious, Matt, did you ever have it out with judges? I mean, I would think that they all loved you and admired you and supported you.
Oh, yeah. Right? I wish... Yeah, they bake me cookies every time I go into court. Listen, even now when I go in LA, nobody knows me in LA County compared to like Orange County, which is where I was a DA. And it's like I stepped in dog crap in the parking lot most of the time. No, we watched that clip. We all had PTSD. I saw the both of you, like 2 real trial attorneys on here with me. We've all been there. We've all been yelled at. And look, the judge is right. They screwed up and they turn around and try to blame the prosecutor. Right. But can I do a weird parallel just real quick? Yeah. You know, in the gang world, and there's a lot of rappers that come from that world, you know, on the Tupac Shakur murder, there's a famous video from the casino. I don't know if you guys remember that, where there's like 20 guys, that it's a big fight, it's a big melee. And then there's the shooting between the 2 cars where Tupac and Suge Knight are both shot. Going back on that, if you look at that, the gang lifestyle, almost every guy in that video, these young men, they're all dead now or in prison. every single one of them. And now it's literally down to every one of them has either been killed or they've done 10 years or more in California State Prison. And it's just, this is an interesting parallel. The gang life goes nowhere but death or jail.
That's
really,
right.
and it's, you see it happening again now. These kids are young, and that was a goofy photo. His hair is silly. He looks like, Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons, but that's a young man. It's
easy,
tragic,
judgmental fella, old guy.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm with you. And for all the kids watching, yeah, don't join gangs. Great
Yeah.
message, Matthew.